Here's a problem from homework number 9. Use the following results from a test for marijuana use, which is provided by a certain drug testing company. Among 150 subjects with positive test results, there are 30 false positive results. And among 154 negative results, there are 4 false negative results. So what we're going to want to do here is break this up into a table. It'll make things much easier to solve. In past problems, we've been given the table, but I think we can do it. We're talking here about people who use drugs, use marijuana, and people who don't use. I'm going to try to keep it a little simple. So that's one column, and then we have test results, right? We get a positive test result saying yes, they are using the drug, and then we can get a negative test result. So these are our test results. Put that over there. And these are our people, our subjects. The subjects are going this way down. Okay, these are our subjects this way. All right, let's fill in some numbers. What are we told? We are told that amongst 150 subjects with positive test results. So here are our positive test results. We know our total down here is going to equal, we have 150 subjects with positive. Whether they use or don't use, we don't know. But we do know that there's 150 that test positive. But we are told that 30 of them are false positives. That means that they don't use the drug, but they're still testing positive. So that's going to be these guys right here. Right here. They're going to be 30 people who test positive but don't use the drug. All right, so how do we figure out these guys here, these remaining people? We can go to our calculators and we can take the total 150 people, subtract off the 30 people, which will give us the 120 people who had those correct scores. Correct. They use the drug and they tested positive. So that's the way it should be. All right, we're again told here, I'm going to pick a different color for us so that makes it a little easier to read. We can see here now there are 154 negative test results. So that's going to be these guys down here. We're told that there's a total of 154 negative test results. And of those, there are 4 false negatives. So where are those guys going to be? False negative is going to mean they actually used the drug, but they're testing negative. So it's going to be those 4. Just it. Which means the remaining people, if there's a total of 154 minus off those 4 is going to leave you with 150 people. So there, we've just created our own table with the information that's provided, and you want to take time to do that. Now that we've made our table, let's go ahead and try to answer some of these questions that they're asking us. How many subjects were included in the study? Well, either way, we have already figured out 2 numbers here, so we might as well add them up. We know that 150 people tested positive, 154 tested negative, and that includes everybody, the users and the non-users. So if we add 150 plus the 154, we will get 304 people that participated in the subject. So that would be our total. If we move on to part B, how many subjects did not use marijuana? So here are our don't use marijuana. They're up here. We have 30 people who tested positive who don't use, and 150 people who tested negative and don't use. So that looks like altogether we have 30 plus 150 equals 180 people who don't use marijuana, whether they tested positive or negative. So the question now is, what is the probability that a randomly selected subject did not use marijuana? So we know the probability of any event is how many different ways can it happen over the total possible outcomes. So in this case, we're talking about people who don't use marijuana. Probability, well, how many non-marijuana users are there? Well, we just figured that out a minute ago. It's 180 people. There's 180 non-users. So the probability of picking one would be 180 out of How many people total do I have to choose from? Well, we just figured that out in part A. There are 304 people in this study. All right. And then if we go to our calculator and we do 180 divided by 304, we get 0.592. And in most cases on StatCrunch or My Stats Lab, they want us to carry it out to 3 decimal places. I'm sorry, what was that? 592. 592. And there you go.